So about a year ago, I was walking through one of my local Goodwills, and I come across this TV. It's a Sony Vega. They actually spell it Wega, but it's supposed to be pronounced Vega. It is a 30-inch HD TV CRT television. You don't see many of these around. You don't hardly ever see them on Craigslist, and when you do, people want $1 million for them. But I use it as my retro gaming TV. I have most of my consoles connected to it. It is one of the few TVs that's a CRT that will actually take anything from RF input all the way to HDMI, which is quite surprising. This TV cost $999.99 was the MSRP for it when it was new, and I believe 2005 is the model year of this TV. So, but like I said, I was going through a Goodwill one day, and I saw it sitting on the bottom rack, on their old TVs rack, and they only wanted $50 for it. So I bought it, and brought it home. Thankfully, they loaded it up for me in the back of my SUV, and I had to get a friend to help me move it in and up a flight of steps. This TV weighs about, not quite 200 pounds. They make a 32 and a 34, and they might make a 36, I can't remember. I think the 36 is 4x3 only, but once you get up into the 34, you're looking at 250, 300 pound TV, so very heavy television. It does have the assortment of stuff. It is Trinitron. It has the SRS surround, blah blah. It actually has BBE audio processing. Those of you in the professional audio, PA systems and things like that, you'd be familiar with BBE. So, but on the front, you got your standard control setups. You have a front input here and a front S-video input. And let's see what else. Let's take a look around back. Alright, so what do we have back here in the back? Well, big giant Sony logo. This thing is a monster. This TV is deep. It's about 2 feet deep. It is a KV-30HS420, and it was made in January of 2005. Yep. Which is kind of unfortunate. I believe 2006 and up model year TVs had the digital ATSC tuner in it. Unfortunately, this TV only has NTSC. But you have 1, 2, 3, 4 video inputs, 2 are S-video. You have video out or monitor out, like if you want to go to a VCR or whatever. And then you have audio out if you wanted to go to a receiver. That could be variable or fixed. You have component input. It'll do 1080i, 720p, 480p, and 480i. And then, something you rarely ever see on a CRT television, it has an HDMI input, which my Xbox 360 is connected to. And it also has, it'll do audio over HDMI, but if for whatever reason you have a device that don't, it has inputs for that. So, it is a beastly television. It does have what they call the DA4 chassis in it. The DA4 is known to have problems. I believe there's 2 chips on the board and the power supply that tend to fail. I have no idea whether this one has been serviced or not. It's not given me any trouble in a year that I've had it. Hopefully it won't ever give me any trouble. So back around front. Unfortunately, this TV didn't come with its original remote control. But I was trolling around at Goodwill a couple months later, and I happened to come across this Sony remote here, which works just fine for it. Here's something you miss with LCD TVs. You don't get the big chunk when you turn them on anymore. Always gotta love the sound of the high voltage coming up. So this TV has, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4. When you get to 5, 5 is component input, 6 is component input, and 7 is the HDMI input. And then you have the tuner, which of course is useless nowadays. There's no, in my area, there are no channels that broadcast on analog anymore. But you can hook a converter box to it, which I do have one for it. And then you can, the box will actually take the 16:9 video and stretch it correctly into the TV. You can come over here and go full screen, and then it'll correct the aspect ratio. So that's the correct 16:9 ratio for the HD channel, which is pretty cool. Of course, you have all of your video settings. You can do progressive scan. You can set it back to interlace. I don't know if you can make that out or not. Probably not in the video, but to my eyeball, the picture bounces a little bit when it's interlaced. And then when you go into progressive mode, it does away with that. So that's pretty cool. So the problem, you have so many inputs, you forget what's where. So let's connect the component, and let's connect the wire. And this is one of the problems with CRT TVs when you try and video things. Stuff gets weird. There we go. It has 10-watt speakers in it. Yeah, they're pretty decent for what they are. Yes, my Wii is hacked. If you have a Wii and you haven't hacked it, well then you're not getting the full use out of it, especially now that any of the online stuff no longer works. Now, of course, it'll do the stretch thing with these games. But of course, you can go back and go back to normal mode, and then that'll put it back to the correct aspect ratio. So that's 480p progressive input. This is what an NES looks like. This is connected a composite directly from my old original toaster NES. That's it there. slow boot. But anyway, there you go. You can see that the HDMI does work, and it'll take anything up to 1080i input. So like I say, it's a great overall TV. You can play, HDMI stuff. I believe they consider this a fine scan tube. I think the newer 2006 models, if you can find them, especially the ones with the XBR sound system, which has a subwoofer built into the TV, I believe those are fine scan, which is actually even a better picture than this set has. But you rarely see them, and when you do see them for sale, people want a crap ton of money for them. So,
as an engineer
and be ready to pay for one, especially if you find one on Craigslist. You might get lucky and find one cheap. You might even find one free for somebody who just wants to get rid of it so they can get one of the new crappily made LCD TVs. For sure, if you want to do retro gaming, I mean, you can do the mods to the hardware. You can get upscalers to do the, like the XRGB, to do upscaling so you can play the consoles on LCD TVs. I mean, if you want to deal with the input lag, where you press A and wait, and then say Mario jumps or whatever. So this TV doesn't exhibit that problem. If there's any lag, I've never been able to see it. Even on HDMI, I don't see any input lag on this TV. Some of the other brands of HD tube TVs, some of them do some crazy digital processing, and you'll definitely see input lag on those. But on these Sony Vegas, I've never seen them. Granted, I've never used any of the newer HD Vegas, but the the Vegas for the mid 2000s TV sets, these are pretty much the TVs to own if you can get your hands on them. I also have a 20-inch 4x3 Vega that I picked up for like $20. And I have it put back as a spare. So, I say modern consoles, that's fine. If you want to mod the consoles and get RGB signal out of them, and then do the SCART to HDMI conversion craziness, more power to you. Go for it, enjoy it. I simply just don't have the funds to deal with buying all the cables and buying the correct upscalers and all that craziness. I mean, I know I could get a Retron 5 and do it that way, but that's emulation. I prefer to play on the original hardware. That's just me. But anyways, pretty much one of the best gaming TVs out there as far as I'm concerned. There are bigger 4x3 HD versions of this set. I think there's one, it's like, I don't know, 40 inches, I think. I've seen some YouTube videos with them. If you can find one of those and you can have some place to put it, and you can get a couple of friends to help you load it and get it home, go for it. I have noticed that my local Goodwills are no longer taking TVs older than 10 years old. So they wouldn't accept this set back if I ever wanted to donate it back to them. Of course I won't. I'll keep it till it dies. So hopefully the picture tube lasts a long time, and anything that goes wrong with the board, I can repair that myself, no big deal. So anyways, I thought I'd just post a little video about this TV here.